Welcome to everyone. Greetings from Teaching Learning Center IIT Madras. My name is Prasad. I'm currently coordinating the center activities. So today is a very special day for this center. We are initiating a new program, a series of interviews or interactions with eminent teachers. This idea was originally mooted by Professor Rupesh from Computer Science, and he contacted us and said that can we do it together, and the Teaching Learning Center is also very happy to be a part of this initiation. In a nutshell, the idea is a lot of personal experience around us is actually getting lost without getting documented. So the discussion between Rupesh and myself, what it was actually about is, can we somehow document this rich personal experience about teaching learning process and then keep it for the future teachers or even some of the teachers who are currently teaching. We learn from each other. This is the crux of this whole series of interactions. And today we have a very eminent personality with us, a well-known teacher and a well-known researcher, Professor Chandra from Department of Computer Science and Engineering, IIT Madras. Welcome, sir. So those who are, because this is going to be finally uploaded somewhere, and for a larger audience benefit, I will give a very brief introduction about Professor Chandra. Professor Chandra received his B.Tech degree from Sri Venkateswara University, Tirupati in 1984. Then he joined for M.Tech at IIT Madras and also continued for his PhD degree. Later, he was a JSPS fellow at Nagoya University, Japan. And then after the postdoctoral study, he returned back to alma mater, IIT Madras, and joined here in 1989. His teaching interests are pattern recognition and machine learning, deep learning, and computer architecture. His current research interests are in visual captioning, deep learning, and distance metric learning. He has published more than 135 papers in refereed journals, edited volumes, and proceedings of international and national conferences, and supervised 9 PhD theses and 18 MS theses. And as an administrator, I think he has a lot of experience, starting from warden to the member of Board of Governors of IIT Madras. He has been the department head and also organizing vice chairman of GATE and also JE admission committee member, so and so forth. So very nice to have you here with us, sir. Welcome to this program. Shall we start?
Yeah, thank you for a very generous introduction. And also, I really appreciate this initiative being taken by the TLC. I'm hoping that it will be more successful, right, as the time goes. I think it will take some time for people to get to know about it and then participate more in numbers, right?
Yeah.
So let's see how it goes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for because you are the first member in the series of interviews. So we will learn from this and how to proceed, right? Yeah. So the first question I have is, when we join an institute, especially an educational institute with the teaching processes, we ask the candidates one-page write-up of teaching philosophy. At that point in time, obviously, none of us have this idea about what is teaching and how it will be going to be. But we give that teaching philosophy. Over the period of years, it might get changed also, right? Because we start experiencing it. So, in your view, what was your teaching philosophy and how it get modified along the way?
Okay, I think we asked for only teaching plan, what kind of subjects they would like to teach and so on. I don't think we really asked for the teaching philosophy in our department. Okay. But anyway, it's a nice point to discuss. First of all, I'm not sure whether I had any teaching philosophy when I joined in the institute, right, in 1989 as a lecturer, right? And it's not that I really wanted to become a teacher and then become a teacher. It happened. Okay.
Okay.
And the first course I was asked to teach was for the 7th semester BTech students. That is the final year BTech students.
Okay.
And that was one of the kind of toughest subjects to be
I see.
taught, right?
Okay.
Was
So how much time did you get before after joining and then the next teaching class? Hardly.
I think I joined sometime in September. I think I was asked to start teaching in January.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. But unfortunately, I did not have any clue of right what is it involved in teaching a computer science subject, because my all the background was in electronics and communication at that time. Okay. And my research experience is also more towards electronics and communication, but I was in computer science department. Okay. And unfortunately, there is no specific book also prescribed for this course because it's at the advanced stage. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it was really a very difficult job to handle, right?
Okay.
I don't think I slept for most of the nights throughout that semester.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Uh, but I think I talked to the other faculty who taught that subject before, right? And then got some idea about what has to be taught, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how it can be taught also, right? And got some material. And
Okay.
of course started preparing. And obviously when you are preparing for the course for the first time, right, it will take a tremendous amount of time and effort to be put in, right, to prepare
Right.
for each and every class. I would say at that time itself, I used to spend about 5 to 6 hours minimum for every 1 hour of a
Okay.
lecture, right? Even that was not kind of found to be adequate, right? Especially because you are teaching the BTech students.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the BTech students in the 80s and 90s,
Okay.
which are completely different from the kind of students that we see nowadays. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll just come back to it quickly why I'm saying that.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. Good evening. Meghna, you want to ask something?
No. I think, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And also I'm teaching the final year students who have done most of the related courses and also many other courses, right? And which they have much better knowledge than possibly what I have, right? Because I did not go through any of these computer science related courses by then. Okay. So it was really a tough task. Okay. And I somehow managed to go and stand in the class and speak for 50 minutes in a very lecture, right? And it was a really difficult experience. And after the semester is over, then of course I got a little bit of confidence, right? Then subsequently in the later semesters, I got some subjects which I'm more comfortable with, which are more of electronics related subjects, right? And then slowly started getting into the group, okay? But it's almost about 6 to 7 years, because I was also doing my PhD parallelly at that time. It was for PhD, right? And only after about 6 to 7 years after I started teaching, I kind of got to spend more time to concentrate on the teaching. Okay. And by that time, I also got a hang of what's it involved in teaching, especially teaching the BTech classes. The reason why teaching a BTech class was a challenge at that point of time is that most of the BTech students that we are getting are the top rankers, really top rankers, right? I think they were all below 100 at that time, though we had only about 35 students in the class, right? Most of them were about the top 100, okay? And also at that time, the coaching was not that high. Coaching for JEE, okay, was not that. It's not like what people nowadays do, like taking coaching for 4 years, 6 years, even 9 years kind of a thing, right? And I would say that the basic students that we used to get at that time were more naturally intelligent and brilliant, right? And the kind of questions they ask in the class are completely different from what you see nowadays, right? In the sense, the questions they ask are much more probing, right? And also their grasping abilities are much higher. Okay. I'm talking about relatively to the MTech classes, because subsequently I started teaching the tech students, right? For obvious reasons, the grasping abilities of the BTech students are much higher than the abilities of students we get in the tech classes, right? And especially because these people are not coming through the 4 years or 6 years or 8 years of coaching, right? They are all much more naturally intelligent and brilliant people, right? And they ask very tough questions and probing questions. And obviously, you may not have answers when they ask the questions, right?
So, you said a definite teaching philosophy was not there when you joined, right?
Yeah, it was not.
What about now? Do you have you have formulated?
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure whether I have really particular teaching philosophy, right? But what has kind of evolved over the time is that, right? Uh, Go to the level of the students first, and then bring them to the level that you want them to come to, right? That is the philosophy I've been kind of following in the past 20 years, I'd say 20, 25 years, right? Especially when I'm teaching MTech students, right? We get students from different backgrounds, different colleges, different universities. And also our computer science department takes students with the different branches of engineering as long as they have a GATE computer science score. Okay. But they need to do the computer science courses when they join the MTech program, right? So they may not have the requisite background and the level of depth of knowledge of that subject. I mean, the prerequisite subjects, because we are talking about teaching the MTech level courses, right? And one thing I could do is, simply say that you go and read these books and then come prepared for the course, right? But I don't think it really worked. Okay. So I used to spend about 3 to 4 weeks out of the 14 weeks on kind of refreshing all the basics and fundamentals that are required in order to follow what is going to be covered in the later part of the course. Okay. So that's what I say when that's what I meant, right? When I say that I go to the level of the students first, right?
So then normalization first and then start.
Yes, right. And once they come to that level, then I see that they really do very well. Okay? Because first of all, they feel comfortable, right? They are able to follow what is going on in the classes, right? And they have developed the confidence that they can go through this, right? Because all the MTech level courses are fairly advanced level courses, right? So they need that confidence that they can handle this level.
That's a very nice way of taking everybody.
Yes.
So one of the typical questions that we get is the syllabus, completion. So anything that we do extra, like whatever you suggested now, people are now struggling with that. So what is your take on that?
I think fortunately in IIT we have a little flexible system, right? It's not like a university where there is a syllabus that's framed by someone and there is someone who teaches the course, and that person is required to follow the syllabus strictly. And also there is someone else who sets the question papers and also is required to follow the syllabus strictly, right? And also the evaluation will be completely by a different person, right? Unfortunately, that is the kind of system in the universities, but in IIT we have a completely flexible system, right? There is a syllabus for every course, right? And as long as you manage to cover all the important parts of that syllabus, I feel that that's good enough, right? To realize the kind of expected outcomes of the course. Okay. I mean, you can leave out 1 or 2 topics which are fairly advanced topics, right? And we can ask the students to read on their own and then learn those topics, right? Okay. But if I don't get the time to cover this preliminary background material that's required, even if I cover all the advanced topics, if they are not able to follow, right, it doesn't help. Okay. So that's why I feel that I may skip 1 or 2 topics towards the end, right? If I don't get time, right? Which is there in the syllabus, right? But it's better to focus on the building up the required foundation for the students.
That's a very important point. I think take home message probably that I'm taking from this interaction is, unless we take everybody into the same level, I mean, there is no meaning in proceeding further because this has an impact on the other parts of the class. So, if I may ask you, like, something that really worked in a classroom, like in terms of teaching learning? Do you have any special methods or tools or methodology that?
Okay. I've been always a blackboard and chalk teacher
Okay.
until
Okay.
Corona.
Okay. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
And during the Corona, I was forced to go to the online mode of teaching where I'm forced to use the gadgets. Okay.
Right.
And even then, I've been using kind of a method where I write on iPad with the OneNote app, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that gets projected on the screen. It's
Okay.
almost equivalent to writing on a blackboard,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
though exactly not same as that,
Right.
okay. And I found that that's the most effective method,
Mm-hmm.
and students really didn't like when I started using this pre-prepared slides material
Okay.
and then making use of the slides material for the lectures.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow they found that that was more kind of discontinuous,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And actually, what happened was during the Corona time, we also did the recordings of the lectures.
Right.
And I also had already the notes written up on my iPad. Okay. Actually, during the last year, when I was repeating the same course, I thought I will make use of that earlier prepared notes.
Okay.
But after the first few classes, the students said that they don't like it.
Yeah.
Because when you are starting writing afresh,
Huh.
right, and you are doing it step by step.
Right.
Whereas if you already have pre-written notes, everything gets displayed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't find it really effective. Okay.
Yeah. So there's some degree of dynamic nature we
Yes,
need to keep
right.
with every
Because
course.
it's a step-by-step building up of the concepts or no theory, right? So that was more effective than just using a pre-prepared notes, right?
Okay.
In the lecture. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And also, what I have seen is that gives them a lot of confidence. And I also normally don't refer to any notes during class.
Okay.
I mean, I do take my notes from class, my papers where I make notes, right?
Right.
And normally, when I was using Blackboard and chalk or even this online thing, right? I rarely refer to the notes. Okay. I think that gives the students a lot of confidence that without even referring to the notes, you can write all these things. Like I teach courses related to machine learning, right? There's a lot of maths involved in that.
Right.
So for the students to get the confidence that they can deal with all the complex mathematics, right? One should be able to do it without referring to anything.
Okay.
See, if you keep the notes in your hand and then looking at it and then writing on the blackboard or writing it on the this iPad, right? That doesn't give them as much confidence as if you're not. And I think that it's not very difficult because you understand everything, right? And then you go through the process based on your understanding. That gives the confidence to students that when you ask the students to solve the problems in the exams, right? They can also do it.
Okay.
It's not that they have to mug up everything and remember everything, right? Right from the first principles, they can start working out solutions for the problems, right? And that's one thing I found, and also students also like it.
So, I mean, what essentially you're saying that the confidence of the teacher, confidence level of the teacher is kind of a contagious to the students to boost their confidence.
Yes.
So, a typical question that normally teaching learning center we wonder is when we say that the students' confidence is getting high or they are learning better, do we have some objective data to support that, or is it like more like a perception that?
Okay.
How do we? Yeah.
There are two methods by which I kind of get feedback. Okay. First method is I keep an eye contact with the students, even if the class is large. Nowadays, I teach classes with about 100 students in the class, right? But still, our classrooms are good, right? I can look at most of the students, right?
Okay.
I think the glow on the faces that show up, right, is the first feedback that you get, right? And also, when you ask the questions, the students respond.
Yeah.
I mean, not all the students, at least a few students respond, right? That gives the confidence that the students are able to follow what is going on in the class.
Okay.
And the second thing is, I evaluate all the exam papers on my own. I normally don't get them evaluated by the teaching assistants.
Okay.
Right? Even if there are 100 students in the class, I do the evaluation of the answer scripts by myself because that helps me to get an idea about how the students are answering, what kind of mistake they are making, right? What can be the possible reasons for them to make the mistakes. Okay? Because is it lack of understanding or lack of preparation, right? Is what I want to know. Of course, if it's lack of preparation, either because they are not attended the classes or they did not read up the material, right? That is obvious because they don't answer the questions well at all, right?
Do you keep a bookkeeping of attendance, or is it what is normally at all? Your attendance part, do you strictly
attendance
monitor?
nowadays, because the class sizes have become very large, right? I'm not able to take the attendance by calling the names, right? So I circulate the attendance sheets, okay, and ask them to sign, okay. And obviously, students are not as honest as they are expected to be, okay. And I see about probably 60% of the students in the class, but the attendance sheet shows that there are 80% attendance. Okay, yeah. But I think even the students, they don't attend the class, right? They manage to kind of prepare for the exams, right? And that's one more point I want to mention at this moment, right? So earlier I used to share all my notes, especially after this online classes have come or when I'm using this iPad, for writing the thing, right? So till the last semester, I've been sharing my notes with the students. Then I got kind of indication that the students have the false confidence that the notes will be anyway be available, right? So they don't have to attend the classes, or even if they are attending the classes, they don't have to take the notes, right? So then I saw that many of the students were not taking notes at all. Okay. So this semester, with the permission of the class committee, right, I told the students that I will not be sharing my notes with the students, and it's really working very well nowadays.
It's fantastic because I think it's really aligned with what research also says, because familiarity, students will take it as an expertise. So they think they have this material, so they think they are learning it or they know it, but when they want to use it, they may not be able.
Yes.
That's a very, very important point. Another aspect, like you said, this blackboard teaching, confidence building, this is working. Something that you tried and miserably failed in any of the teaching experience that you have?
Not really anything about the teaching. What I found did not did not go well for me was in handling the laboratory courses.
Okay.
Yeah. I think theory courses, I think most of them went off well, right? Somehow the laboratory courses, I was not really kind of successful in doing as well as I would have liked them.
Why do you think so?
Possibly because I myself have not really done much practical things, right? Okay. And also, I did not really focus on how to make them more effective, right? Yeah. So especially I was teaching laboratory courses related to computer hardware, right? Okay. Maybe there are lots of developments which I have not really followed it up, right? Because I don't do the research in those areas, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah. So that is one thing I was not much happy. Even the students were not very happy. I know that. Yeah. Okay. So you said, the theory courses, I think they were taught fairly well. Is what I think. Yeah.
You said you have this large classroom experience, right?
Yeah.
So one of the keep coming questions in any of the workshop is how to handle large classes, right? So people have different issues with the class size, and also how large is another question. But a typical class size of 100, 120, teachers find it very difficult to monitor the learning part. So what is
when the classes are about till about 60, I used to take attendance by calling students' names, right? So I used to get to know most of the students by the middle of the semester, okay? But now with this class size going beyond 100, right? I hardly get to know more than 5 or 6 students in the class, right? That is one thing I feel really bad, okay? And other than that, really doesn't affect me when I'm handling the large size classes. think it's a little bit more difficult to keep track of which students are able to follow, which students are not able to follow, because uh, the students really don't show much of expression.
Yeah, that's another, especially, yeah, that is true. That is
Yeah,
true.
okay. Very few students, no, I can see that there is a sense of indication that they are able to follow, right? Other students, I cannot really find out or figure out, right, whether they are
Yeah.
able to follow or not, okay?
Yes.
Also, because the class sizes are large, I can't really keep track of, you know, what really students are able to follow or not, okay? And even if you ask questions, only a few people will keep responding, right? And the other people don't respond. And for what reason they don't respond is also very difficult to figure out. Okay, so that's one difficult thing. There are courses where I can give some problems in the class, for the students to solve. Right? Then I go around and then try to find out what they do. Right? But unfortunately, for many of the courses that I'm currently teaching, it's not possible to give that kind of exercises.
Okay.
Right? But when I do give those exercises, I find that some students are not able to even get started, right?
Yeah.
Then I try to check with them what is the reason and so on, right?
Okay.
Where I can help. Okay? But second, the thing I have found it more logistically difficult was students keep coming to the class much after the start of the class.
Okay. Okay.
Especially if you have only one entrance to the classroom, and that's where the teacher is standing, right?
That's true.
Is really distracting. Unfortunately, many of our students, especially more of BTech students, they have the tendency to keep coming to the class 10 minutes, 15 minutes, even 20 minutes late, right?
Okay.
That's a big distraction and also really a big...
Did you take any special effort to stop
I
that?
keep, what can I do? I can only keep telling them that no, they are disturbing the teacher and also the students who are already there, right? Don't do that, right? Tell them few times. After that, you kind of give up, right? Yeah, actually about 20 years back or maybe about 15 years back, I walked out of a course because of that reason.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, sometimes strong reactions will have some impact.
Yeah, right. I was teaching a BTech course again for the final year students, right? This was more kind of rampant, right? And I had to really walk out of the course first.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, then there was some kind of reconciliation. Restarted the course, of course.
So you have started the teaching in 1989, you said, right?
Yeah, right.
So
yeah.
Compared to that, probably over these several years, the diversity of the classroom probably changed a lot. I mean, of course, there is no uniform size. Always learning abilities are a distribution. Yeah. But now it is not only like one distribution. There are multimodal, ability distributions are in one class.
Yeah.
From your experience, I mean, how can we address this issue?
Okay. Actually, when I'm teaching either a BTech class and MTech class, the distribution is not a multimodal distribution.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Because we are getting people with more or less similar abilities and similar background. Okay. Only when I'm teaching an elective course where there are both BTech students and the MTech students, right? Then there is possibly a multimodal distribution. Okay. And fortunately or by chance, what has been happening is that the BTech students seem to sit in one part of the class and MTech students seem to sit in another part of the class, right? Then I can kind of see what kind of reactions they have, right?
Okay.
And based on the reactions, I'm able to kind of handle that, right? So I don't really feel that the diversity is really a big problem, right? And also because I'm teaching these elective courses, the background that's required is something that they need to develop in the course itself. Okay. It's not that they would have had a kind of prerequisite background that would have been developed already, right? So there's not much of a disparity in the background of the BTech students or the MTech students who are taking the course.
Okay.
Again, I spend the first few classes to develop whatever the requisite background, okay, even for these elective courses, right? And once the students come to that level, and then they they feel comfortable, with the course, right? But what has been observed in the BTech classes is, again, as many of you know, right, uh, not all the students are really interested in the courses.
Right.
They are not interested in that in the classes, right? I'm not really sure what exactly one can do. I wish we can do something, right? Because I feel that finally they are the losers, right? They have an excellent opportunity to study in like places like IITs, right?
Right.
And they are not making use of the opportunity to the extent that they must be making use of is what I feel, right?
That's
I
true.
think it's mainly because they don't have the kind of attention spans that are required, right? And they don't feel like attending the classes, right? What are the reasons, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I feel that no, they are the losers in the end, right?
That's true.
And anything that we can do to make them getting more interested in attending the classes will be really helpful. But I could not really figure out what exactly one needs
Okay.
to do it. Because in the first few classes, what for the first 10 classes, the attendance will be really good.
Okay.
After
Then
that, it
slowly,
kind of tapers down, right? Yeah. But those who do attend the classes regularly, I think
they keep coming.
they do very well, right? But those who do not attend the classes, we can see that the way they perform in the exams, more than that, the way they answer the questions, right? That's what really is.
Do you use teaching assistants in the class for
No, normally I don't use the teaching assistants in the class.
theory class? Okay.
Yeah. For the courses, core courses mainly when we have kind of tutorial classes. Right?
Okay.
When we give the tutorial exercises. In the evaluation tutorials, I take the help of the teaching assistants. Right?
Okay.
And in the courses where there are programming assignments, right, I take the help of teaching assistants in conducting those sessions, right? But other than that, I don't take the help of teaching assistants either in teaching the classes or in grading the answer scripts.
Okay. So, because you have a very long teaching career, any advice for those who wants to become a teacher or a teaching profession?
Yeah. First thing is, I don't think it's a natural ability one has already, right, to teach and also to teach effectively, right? Actually, I like the word that you have used in your questions, right? Basically, we're talking about only effective teaching, not really excellent teaching, right? I mean, from my experience, from my teachers, both in the school as well as colleges and the IIT, right? There are, I would say, very few excellent teachers, okay? But there are many effective teachers, okay? Basically, and the teachers will put in their best of their efforts, right, to make the students to learn a particular subject, right? That's what I mean by effective, right? And any ability to do effective teaching doesn't come necessarily naturally to everyone, right? And most of us, I think, especially because we don't go through any of these programs like BED program or the MED program, I'm not sure how effective they are, but still, right? So all of us learn on the job. Okay? As long as we have the passion, right? I think that will help us to develop the ability to do the teaching effectively. Okay? And the kind of satisfaction that you would get, right, when you do your job properly is something that does not compare with anything else, is for, at least for me. I don't get as much of satisfaction or happiness, right, when I take the class effectively, right, and also complete the course effectively, and the students find that the course was enjoyed by them, right? The kind of satisfaction that I get is not as high as, it's much higher than what I would get maybe when I get a paper published.
That's very much true. That is very much true.
Yeah.
I think the passion, that
passion.
is the one that is
passion. And also I think that also when you're teaching in places like IIT, the teaching also feeds into your research, especially when you're teaching the elective courses, right? The teaching the courses, advanced courses, related to areas of research feeds a lot into the research. Especially, recently when I started teaching a course on deep learning, right, which is also my area of research, right? I learned a lot more by teaching
the course,
right? If I not taught that course, I don't think I would have learned as much, right? So the teaching really feeds into our research also, right? Except that maybe teaching the core courses may not.
Undergraduate level probably, but advanced level courses.
Right.
So with one more question, we will wind up and then probably open to the audience if they have some queries. In this career path, any anecdotes, any memorable experience that you want to share with all of us?
Okay. The highest moment or the peak moment was when I got a call from director on an evening like this, saying that I have been selected for the Excellence Award in
teaching. Okay,
that was completely a pleasant surprise or even shock for me, because I never knew that I was in the race. Anyway, that was one thing. But there are a couple of other things. When the feedback from students came completely in an indirect manner, right? I remember about 10 years back, I think, right? I was going through a BTech project report, which I'm supposed to evaluate.
Okay.
Right? Then the student in the acknowledgements. Okay, nowadays, I don't think you will find that much. Okay. Then the student said that one of the two courses that he enjoyed the most in IIT, this is a BTech student.
Okay.
Right? So you would have gone through maybe about 100 courses, in a BTech program here, right? Out of all the courses that he has gone through, one of the two courses that he liked the most and he enjoyed the most was one course taught by me.
That's a moment to cherish, yes.
Yeah, which I happened to read by chance. Okay. So, like that, there are few moments when the students come back and tell you, not necessarily immediately after the course is over, right? Maybe much later, okay? They come back and tell you that, right? They really enjoyed the course, they learned a lot, right? What are the knowledge they gained in that course was really useful, right? Like one MS student told that he still refers to the notes of my class, right? When he's doing the work in the company, even after about 5 years. Okay. So, yeah, these are the kind of things, that gives you a lot of satisfaction. Yeah.
Great. So let us see from the audience. Anyone would like to? You can probably. Rupesh, are you there? You want to make any comments?
Maybe we'll check if one of the people from the audience have any.
Yeah. Others also. Yeah, please.
Good. It's not a question. It was just a comment. It was good to hear the experiences of a variety of people. We rarely get to exchange things at this level. We talk about when we meet and so on and so forth. We talk about students not doing things and pretty much complaints and so on and so forth, rather than celebratory kind of conversations. It's nice to know that, and it will be good to know the experiences of a lot of people, and interesting to know how the things evolve at IIT Madras. That's really nice. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, Professor Chandra, and thanks for sharing the experiences. It was really, that you correct all the grading quizzes and exams is really something that is inspiring, and we should take it up. I had one.
It takes a lot of time and, of course, quite painful process, but still, yeah.
Yes. I had one question, and maybe other members can also chip in. So, what are your thoughts on? When we come in as faculty members, when we join in, we have almost no training in teaching. no formal training. So, I mean, we do attend TLC workshops, but maybe that is possibly very early on, and it is also a short workshop. What is your opinion on whether there should be some training or a more rigorous way of or opportunities for training where we can get trained to teach?
Not really sure whether going through any training sessions will be helpful. Okay, I think talking to the faculty who are already in the system uh, may be helpful, and attending the classes being taken by the faculty may also be helpful, is what I feel. Okay, because I don't think we can do any uh, kind of training the people to teach, because there is not a well-established procedure, no, how to teach in a place like IIT, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I feel that no, talking to the other teachers and maybe attending the classes being taken by a few teachers may be helpful.
Okay. Hello, Professor Chandra. This is Chaitanya.
Hi.
Hi. This question is more like I don't know. It's more of how to manage is what I wanted to know. So, for example, we wanted to excel both in teaching as well as in research, but the time is the major thing here that at least I am unable to properly manage most of the time. So I could see that there is a lot of possibility to improve in teaching. For example, we can go through, for example, Journal of Chemical Education or these kind of journal articles that can, and we can tell the students to solve such problems, etc. But this definitely requires a lot of time and effort from our end. And even when I'm seeing some standard books, I teach quantum chemistry most of the time. So when I see some standard books like Levine, those people suggest like Journal of American Physical Society journals, they will be mentioning what are the advanced things that are happening currently. I mean, they will be reading those things and they have incorporated those things in the books. But even going back and reading those kind of articles itself is like taking a lot of time. Suggesting the students is like next level. So,
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know. So somewhere like I feel that I can improve a lot, but I'm really not feeling. I'm not getting the time to do all this stuff. Like only maybe after like 10-15 years, if I do step by step, little bit, probably I will be able to do something better than what I'm doing today.
Okay.
I just wanted to know your views. Like again, this is considering that I wanted to also spend considerable amount of time on research. Only teaching, I think I can definitely excel by doing all this, by giving equal importance to research and of course our various professional service duties, considering all that.
I know. Okay. Okay. So my experience is that for teaching a core course, typically there are good textbooks available for any of these courses, right? Maybe not necessarily only one book, but maybe 2 or 3 good books, right? I think it helps a lot to go through those 2 or 3 books completely, before teaching a particular course, or at least while teaching the course. Okay, because you will not be able to get time to completely read all these books, right, before the starting of the teaching of that course, right? But it helps a lot if you can go through those books completely, right? When you are teaching a core course, right? But when you are teaching the elective courses, especially on the kind of current topics, we don't have a choice but to keep track of what is happening, right? I mean, though we may not change the syllabus officially, I think all of us know this, right? We do cover some of the topics which are not in the syllabus, right? Because we feel that they are relevant in the current day scenario, right? So we have to keep track of what is happening, right? Unfortunately, when you're teaching these elective courses on advanced topics, there may not be even good books available, right? So we have to depend on the materials like research papers, a lot of websites. Nowadays, there's a lot of online sources available, right? So one has to get time to get to know about on this material, right? And especially when you're teaching that course for the first time, one has to spend really a lot of time. Like I started teaching this deep learning course in 2019, right? Before the start of semester, I spent a lot of time, and during that semester also, I spent a lot of time, right, to prepare for the classes and to get the complete big picture of, right, what is going to be covered in that course, right? And subsequently, also in the past 5 years, there have been so many changes in the uh, in the research area, right? So you have to bring in those topics, the course, because that's an advanced course the students are going to learn, right? And if they are going to sit for the placements, right, then they are going to be asked the questions about these topics, right? So we don't have a choice but to include those topics in the courses, right? And in order to teach those topics effectively, right, you must have a good grip on those topics, which will come only if you read the papers, right? Unfortunately, the textbooks will not come so fast, right? So we have to manage to get time to prepare for teaching such topics. Yeah, time management is a big issue, right? And one has to do it very consciously, right? I think there are 4 components generally the faculty is expected to kind of spare time, like all of us know, teaching, research, projects, and the administrative, right? Yeah, you have to see how to kind of partition your bandwidth available, right, among these, right? Typically, people would say about 40% is for teaching, right? And about 30% is for research, right? And maybe about 20% is for the projects, and 10% is for the administrative thing, right? Yeah, and it's important because you're part of system has to run, right? So one has to take up the administrative responsibilities, right? And being in places like IIT, doing the projects is also equally important, right? Yeah, but proportioning the time that's available, right? And making sure that you do justice to all the components is also important. Yeah. Right.
Thank you so much.
Right.
I was just wondering about the question by Meghna. You said training part, no?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is true that as you rightly said in the beginning, we don't have a natural ability for teaching, right? It's something that we need to get it. So don't you see training has some role there because it is not natural?
Yeah, it has a role, but what I'm saying is, should it be done immediately after the person starts? And let's say if somebody starts in, joins the department in the month of June and he's required to take classes in July, right? Where is the time for him to go through a formal training?
Yeah.
Right? That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Right? Otherwise, going through the training like what is being done by the TLC is definitely going to be helpful.
Okay.
Right? I was meaning that, immediately when you don't have time to go through a training process, right? It's what I mean.
Exactly. Anyone else?
I do have one question, Chandra.
Sure. I hope it's not a tough question.
Have you encountered any difficult students in the class to deal with?
Not nowadays. I mean, not really. I mean, they ask very difficult questions nowadays.
Yeah, not necessarily about the technical aspects of.
Yeah, the non-technical aspects are only the people coming late into the classes, walking into the classes late.
I see.
That is the only thing I have found how to deal with. Yeah.
Sure.
Other than that, I don't think the students create any problems, at least.
Okay.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sure.
Okay, I think there are no other further questions. So thank you very much, Professor Chandrasekhar, for spending this much time with this process. We are very fortunate that we started with you, a lot of information, especially that normalization part I'm taking as a take-home message from this interaction. And also I'm very positive that a lot of information that come through this interaction will be very useful for the teaching fraternity at large. Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting me. It was a kind of surprise, but it was a pleasant one. It was nice talking to her.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we are winding it up.
Sure. Okay.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Chandra.
Okay, Rupesh, thanks.
Yeah.